All right. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Happy Tuesday. Welcome back. Hi, John. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Hi, Rod. Good afternoon, bro. Good afternoon. So, welcome back to Tips from Elaine's Desk. Elaine Proby here, CEO of PROBY'S Tax and Accounting, and Tips from Elaine's Desk. All right, Learner Smith. Thank you for the hearts. Thanks for jumping in here. You guys hit like and share on this video. Very important information today. We have to talk about these things, which are taxes, obligations that employer has. If you have employees, if you pay vendors, this is serious information that we have to make sure that we all know, because a lot of us out there is operating a business. It doesn't matter if it's one person that you hire as an employee, or if you even pay a subcontractor to do some work for you. If it's a web designer or whatever that subcontractor may do for you, there's certain obligation that you do have and certain tax reporting that we want to talk about today. Okay, so hi Geronimo, thanks for jumping in here. Happy Tuesday, happy Tuesday. You guys hit like and share on this video. All right, so let's jump right into our points today. Employers has to file certain forms at the end of the year. Okay, I want to make sure that you guys get this right. Again, one person that works for you or one person that did any subcontracting work for you, you have this obligation as an employer. Okay, so one of the things that employer has to file if you have employee and you had a payroll. Every quarter, some employers have to file their payroll tax forms. Now, a lot of employers or people, when they start a business, they get a little confused because they will come to me and say, don't I have to file something every quarter? Well, there's certain things you must file every quarter, like estimated tax payments. But what you must file every quarter, if you have employees based on the amount of payroll, is your employer tax form, which is a Form 941. Now, at year end, of course, that is the fourth quarter that you must file. And in addition to the fourth quarter filing, this is what every employer must file, is what is called the 940 tax form, which is the federal unemployment tax form. Now, you guys may not realize this, but every employer has to pay into the federal unemployment pot. So they take out the state unemployment out of your payroll check every single time you get paid. However, the employer has to put some money out of pocket and pay into a federal unemployment pot, right? So the federal unemployment is subsidized and fund the state unemployment when they have problems paying unemployment. Now, a lot of you may not understand this or may not even know, as an employer, you're paying into the federal unemployment. So at the end of every year, every employer with employees has to file an employer unemployment tax form, which is the Form 940. And this, again, is only done once a year, okay? So I want to make sure that you guys understand this. Every quarter you file your 941 payroll taxes, but every year, once a year, you'll file the 940, which is the federal unemployment tax form. And one form that some employer also file only once a year. If you don't have a large payroll, let's say you have a couple of people on payroll, you don't pay out a lot, there is a Form 944, which the government says, well, since you don't have a lot of employees, we're not going to burden you with paying filing quarterly 941 payroll tax form. We'll just have you do it once a year. So once a year, you get to file this 944, report all the payroll you pay for the year. And this obviously is for people who doesn't have a lot of people on payroll. You're not paying out a lot. Once a year, they said, okay, send us this total and make sure that we know what you have paid and pay the payroll taxes in once a year. Okay, so let me just let you know, it's the 941 every quarter, 944 if you have a small payroll, and the 940 every employer must file. And this is the unemployment tax that goes into the federal pot so that it subsidizes state unemployment. Okay, so that's the first point I want to make today. We're talking about employer tax and reporting obligations, forms that they need to file, and forms that they need to, now on the second point, furnish to the people who work for them. Okay, so let's get to point number 2. Hey, Cognac, thanks for jumping in here. Oh, Laverne Smith, hey sis, how are you? Hit like and share on this video, guys. Obligations for employers. We all out there operating a business, and if it's one person or two people or someone just independently does something for you, you have to listen to this, okay? Second point today is forms that you must furnish. Now, as an employer or as a business person, so it doesn't have to have an employee, has to have to be an employer now with employees. You have to furnish to your employees a Form W-2. A W-2 form is the wage and tax statements, which tells the employees how much money they make all year long, how much taxes is deducted from them. And this is what the employees use to file their personal tax return. So you have to furnish the employees, all of your employees, with a form W-2 at the end of the year. You must do this. And we'll find out later on my third point why you have to do this. Okay. Now, if you are a business owner and you hire an independent contractor, you hire someone to, like I said earlier, create your website for you. Let's say a consultant that helps you with something, they're not employed by you. Anyone that does other work for you, a graphic designer that works for you. In the case of you guys that's in the music industry, if you hire an engineer to do some work for you, or if you hire anyone to do a video for you, all these folks are considered independent contractors. They're not employees of yours, but you have to pay them for the services that they render. Okay, so if you pay anyone over $600, you need to provide them, and you must provide them with a form 1099 NEC. Non-employee compensation. That's what that's for. So all of us out there that's doing business, again, like I said, independent wise, you're working and you're not having any employees, but you're paying people to do things. You're paying people to mix your music. You're paying people to do your graphic design. You're paying people to do all sorts of things, consultant, all of that good stuff. If you pay them over $600 for the year, you must provide them with a form 1099. The reason for this is so the government knows how much money they make. They need to report it and pay their taxes, and you need to deduct it from your taxes, right? So for you to be able to deduct these monies from your income on your taxes, you should issue this 1099. And so they are responsible to make the payments while and when they file their tax return. All right. So that's the reason why you have to furnish that. So we're not going to get any further into that, but those two forms specifically must be furnished by you as an employer if you have employees, W-2s. And if you have anyone that does some work for you independently, pay them $600. You have to give them form 1099. All right. It allows you to take that deduction without having to worry about it. If you don't issue that 1099, that deduction could be disallowed on your tax return. So I know you don't want that to happen, right? So you may take that deduction and the government audit you and they say, okay, well, hey, where's your 1099? They could disallow the deduction. Very important. So that's the second point today, guys. Hit like and share on this video. We're talking about employer tax reporting obligations. Now, let's get into the third point. This is where it gets really serious. Fines and penalties. Now, you know, of course, if you don't follow the rules, they always have some good fines and penalties for you. And this is exactly what we don't want to have, because this is throwing away money, right? So you always have to make sure that you file these tax returns on time. Give those forms 1099, those forms W-2s. You have to give it to the people by January the 31st. All right? You have an obligation to make sure that everyone gets these forms by January 31st. So you have a whole month to make sure that your numbers is correct. Proper accounting record will give you this information. All of the independent people you pay all year long, if you keep proper record, you know how much money you pay them. You know if you pay them over $600, and you give them a form 1099. And those people who are on payroll, if you have a payroll service or if you're doing it in-house, you know what goes on those W-2s, and they must be given to the people by January 31st. Have to be, that's the deadline to give it to them. All right. So if January 31st passes by and employees or other vendors are asking you for these forms, guys, please don't get upset. Try to get to them as soon as possible, because your obligation is to make sure they get it on time. Now, if you fail to furnish W-2s, it can cost you up to $630 per each one of those W-2 returns that you have not given out to the necessary employees who have worked for you. That's a lot of penalty. There's no maximum to this. So just imagine if you had to give out 50 of these forms or 20 of these forms, and you just did not issue those W-2 forms. That's a lot of penalty. That's a lot of fines. Lord knows you don't want to ever have to pay that. Same thing with 1099s. It might be a little lower. It's like $280 per form per 1099, but you do not want to spend $1 on giving out forms that you know you have to do. So they make these fines so steep simply because they want you to know that it's so important to make sure that this happens. The employees cannot file their taxes without the W-2s, and your vendors have to report what they make, but the government doesn't know what you pay them if you do not do the 1099s and send that in so they know what you have paid out. Okay, so this is the reason why whenever you see steep fine and penalties, it is important because the government needs to keep track of this stuff, and you have an obligation to take care of this. All right, so very serious. So let me recap this. I don't want to get any more complex, but very serious information, guys. Hit like and share on this video. Share this information so everyone gets it. And all the stuff that we talk about, again, you don't have to have some huge corporation. If you are just independent, no employees, right? And you have someone that did some work for you, build a website, graphics, whatever, make you some merchandise. If this is what you have done, even once or twice, and you paid over $600, you have an obligation to file these forms, all right? So don't make any mistakes here. First point today is the forms that you have to file at the end of the year. You need to be filing your payroll tax returns, 941, your year-end unemployment tax, which is the 940. These tax returns has to be filed every year. And if you're on your payroll, not having a lot of employees, sometimes they'll put you on just report once a year, not every quarter. And that's a form 944. Okay, so those are forms to be filed by the employer every year at the end of the year. You have 30 days to do it. All right. Number 2, forms you must furnish to the employees or to your vendors. W-2 forms must go to all of your employees. You have to give them these forms. And the people who work for you as vendors, independent contractors, you give them a 1099 form. If you pay them over $600, you give them a 1099 form, guys. And these forms right here, if you are doing this on your own, you don't have to pay a service to provide you with the payroll to create these forms. It's very easy to get these forms. It's very easy to just put the number that you pay on them, and it's very easy to get it filed. So if you're not able to pay a professional service to do it, you don't have an accountant or a payroll service to do it, you can do it yourself, get the forms, and make sure you fill it out. It's going to save you a whole lot of money. Then getting into the third point, which is the fines and penalties. All right. $630 for not providing W-2, guys. If that's 2 people, that's a lot of money. And the 1099 is the same way. So you don't want to have to pay these fines and penalties. Not providing these forms, you have 30 days to pull these numbers together, make it accurate, and send it in. And of course, if you have any questions about any of this, need assistance with any of this, you don't want to do any of this yourself because you want to make sure you don't do it wrong, because you will be fined for incorrect information, wrong social security, wrong ID numbers, wrong amounts. They also fine you for incorrect information, filing these information forms with the wrong numbers and all this stuff. Is also a fine or a penalty. Okay, so if you want to get it done professionally, once again, here at PROBY'S Tax and Accounting, we can assist you with all of the stuff. We have a whole payroll department that can assist you with your payroll, with your 1099, getting the stuff filed every quarter, filed once a year, and all information and forms filed and given to the necessary folks, and you can legally take those deductions on your tax returns. All right. So you can call us at PROBY'S Tax and Accounting, 323-290-9034, or go to our website, probystacks.com, set up an appointment, get some consultation, and get the stuff done right. Will save you a whole lot of money. All right. So that's it for my information today. We want to remind you at Tips from Elaine's Desk, elainesdesk.com. We have a lot in store. We still have our workshop coming up. She said, join us Thursdays. We have a lot of coming up. We have a workshop in store for you. We'll teach you a whole lot of this stuff hands-on. You'll be there to ask questions, get questions answered. Again, like I said, 2024 is our year. We have to get these business up and going. And then we're going to talk about how to stay in business, right? Anybody can start a business, but not everybody can stay in business. So we're going to talk about how to stay in business. Again, 2024 is 40 years of PROBY'S in business. So we're going to talk to you guys about the tricks of how to make that happen. She said, join us every Thursday. Oh, join us on Thursday. What are we doing Thursday? Join us on Thursday. I can't even read this. January the 16th, 18th, whatever day that is. Filing made easy. All right. Must have filing documents. We're going to talk about the documents that you need to file your taxes. A lot of people is confused. So we're going to talk about what those things are, make some notes. So by the time you get your stuff uploaded on our website or wherever you get it done at, It would just be so easy. Most people have anxiety when it comes to tax time, but look, we make it easy. So you don't even have to have anxiety. You just get it done in the comfort of your own home. You don't have to go anywhere to get it done. Upload everything on our website. So we'll make it easy for you. All right. So with that said, hit like and share on this video, guys. Have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday afternoon. And we'll see you back here Thursday at 1 p.m., 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And with that said, you guys take care of each other and take care of yourself. Just say great information. Thank you so much for always tuning in and sharing this information, you guys. Appreciate that. All right. So with that said, guys, I will see you on Thursday. Thanks. Bye-bye.